Hey my family, how are you? Welcome to another one. I've been receiving messages upon messages and you wanted us to cover a video about this thing about the red heifer, which is reportedly being due for sacrifice, especially in this month of April, and all other events that we're going to be seeing happening. For example, the solar eclipse on the 8th of April, the Passover from Monday the 22nd of April to the 30th. So I just compiled these videos together for you just to provide some, educational content. So let's get into this. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Are we so close to the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ? Let's get into it.
One of the most fundamental elements of Christian eschatology is the appearance of a third temple. Further into this video, we delve into the significance of this third temple. Rabbinic tradition maintains that since the era of Moses, 9 red heifers have been offered in sacrifice. Following the destruction of the Second Temple, there have been no further sacrifices of red heifers. However, the introduction of these red heifers into the land of Israel brings us one step closer to a temple purification ceremony that hasn't taken place in roughly 1,954 years. Bear in mind, only 9 red heifers have been offered in sacrifice, so the next one to be offered for sacrifice is the 10th. The 19th chapter of the 4th book of the Bible and the 4th book of Moses describes the process of this ceremony. Numbers, chapter 19, verses 1 to 10. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give her unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp, and one shall slay her before his face. And Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh, and her blood, with her dung shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until the even. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until the even. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and lay them up without the camp in a clean place. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin. And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever. Red heifers are believed by some Jews and Christians to be one of the key elements in rebuilding the Third Temple. Many Christians believe that once a red heifer is sacrificed, it will truly usher in the last days. Red heifers themselves are not that rare. However, red heifers that meet all the standards for the sacrifice are rare. According to the book of Numbers, chapter 19, the specific qualifications for a red heifer as described by Moses include: Condition number 1, completely red. The heifer must be entirely red, with no more than 2 non-red hairs on its body. This requirement is interpreted very strictly, and any significant deviation disqualifies the heifer. Condition number 2, without blemish. The red heifer must be without any physical defects or blemishes. This means it must be physically sound, healthy, and without any deformities. Condition number 3, never yoked. The heifer must have never been put to work, meaning it has never been used for ploughing or been yoked for any other labor. This symbolizes its purity and dedication solely to God's commandment. Condition number 4. Never bred. The heifer should not have been bred or have borne a calf. This requirement ensures its purity and that it has been reserved exclusively for the sacrificial purpose prescribed in the Torah. Condition number 5. Of proper age. While not explicitly stated in the text, as a specific age, rabbinical interpretation suggests the red heifer should be at least 3 years old, the age at which it is considered mature and suitable for sacrifice. Within Jewish tradition, it is held that the 10th sacrifice of a red heifer will pave the way for the construction of the Third Temple, an essential event before the Messiah's arrival. Yet, some ancient traditions propose that the Messiah will personally carry out this sacrifice. On the other hand, Christians believe that the Third Temple's construction is a prerequisite before the second coming of Jesus Christ. The Temple Institute is an organization dedicated to preparing for the construction of the Third Temple on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, in accordance with biblical commandments. Founded in 1987, it is located in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem's Old City. The Temple Institute has been engaged in efforts to identify and raise red heifers for decades.
So it says that we're supposed to take a perfectly red cow with no white hairs or dark hairs at all, and a cow that no yoke has ever been on. So as a result, it's very, very rare to find a baby cow that is completely red.
This kind of red heifer has been incredibly difficult to find, even with genetic modification and breeding. But in September 22, 5 of these perfect red heifers were discovered on a farm in Texas, with the help of evangelical Christian farmer Byron Stinson. He and an official member of the Temple Institute, Rabbi Yitzhak Manu, worked hard to examine these cows. They were perfect, and just what the Temple Institute needed. The Institute later spent over $500,000 to transfer these candidates from Texas to a secretive breeding farm in Israel for protection and grooming. Now these cows were too young to be sacrificed in September 22. As mentioned before, the red heifer has to be in their 3rd year of living. But as of April this year, these red heifers will be of age, and the sacrifice can commence. To prepare for this, the Temple Institute and other groups has been making a lot of preparations. First, the preparation has to be made by the perfect priest, not only trained in the process of sacrifice, but also with a direct bloodline to Aaron, the brother of Moses. The sacrifice also has to be east of the Temple Mount, around the Mount of Olives, where the priest can be within sight of the compound itself. And this land has already been purchased 12 years ago by the same rabbi who worked with Byron Stinson to bring the 5 red heifers from Texas to Israel.
According to those working on the project, the ceremony of the red heifer needs to be performed on the Mount of Olives and in a place that would have looked directly into where the temple stood. The land I'm standing on, bought 12 years ago, fits both of those standards.
It's had to be exactly at the front of the place that the priest that made this ceremony can see the Holy of the Holy Place.
Rabbi Yitzhak Mamo heads Yuvnei Jerusalem, dedicated to the goal of rebuilding the Third Temple. He owns the land here on the Mount of Olives.
And we hope that in a year and a half from today, we can make here in this area the ceremony of the red heifer. That actually will be the first step to the temple.
Mamo says the ceremony needs priests who have not been defiled by touching anything dead.
The Temple Institute actually have 9 pure priests. They didn't born in a hospital, okay? They born at home. Because they are priests, so anyway, they don't go to any cemetery. And they are pure. And they are waiting. So we have the priest, we have the red heifer, we have the land, and we have everything ready. We just need to wait another 1.5 years.
According to news outlets, a massive altar has already been constructed for this purpose. Last month, All Israel News reported that the Temple Institute wants to conduct a sacrifice before Passover. 2024. And this year, the Jewish people will celebrate Passover on April the 22nd. In fact, Temple Institute is so serious about the preparation that they have already used diamond cutting tools to form the massive stones that will be used as building blocks of the third temple. As per Jewish creed, the stones cannot be carved with metal tools, and they have even prepared ornaments that will be placed inside the temple.
Most Christians, I think, don't think about the third temple, but those who do believe that it will be built before Jesus returns for the second coming, not necessarily before the rapture, but definitely before the second coming, and that the Antichrist will take over that third temple during the tribulation and try to rule the world from there. Could it happen in our lifetime? That to me is intriguing. I think we don't know, but there are some Jews who are really making, as you're reporting on, preparations to get ready for that moment, and that's something to watch closely.